Ladies and gentlemen, in a world that often feels fast-paced, competitive, and unforgiving, there remains a power far greater than wealth, position, or authority, the power of humanity and kindness. True strength is not measured by how much we achieve for ourselves, but by how much we uplift others along the way. We meet people carrying burdens we cannot see. A kind word, a gentle smile, or a moment of understanding can be the light that eases their struggles. Often, what may seem like a small gesture to us, a listening ear, forgiving a mistake, or lending a hand, can mean everything to someone in despair. Humanity is about recognizing that we are all connected. No matter our background, language, or circumstances, we all share the same hopes, fears, and dreams. When kindness is extended, it bridges every divide. It reminds us that compassion is the universal language of the human soul. Let us remember, greatness is not found in titles or achievements, but in the impact we leave on hearts. The world doesn't need more judgment. It needs more mercy. It doesn't need more criticism. It needs more understanding. And it doesn't need more indifference. It needs more love. So today, let kindness not just be a moment, but a way of life. Let your humanity shine in how you treat others, not only when it's easy, but especially when it's difficult. Because in the end, people may forget our words, but they will never forget every day we pass by people without knowing what they might be going through. Some carry silent struggles, hidden behind forced smiles or quiet voices. To us, it may look like an ordinary day, but for them, it could be one of the hardest days of their lives. That is why small acts of kindness hold such incredible power. A simple smile, a gentle word of encouragement, or even the smallest gesture of consideration can lift a heavy heart in ways we may never fully realize. These are not grand or dramatic actions, but their impact can be profound. Think about a time when you were feeling low, perhaps overwhelmed by the weight of responsibilities or worries. Then suddenly, someone noticed you, not with judgment, but with compassion. Maybe it was a stranger who opened the door for you, a colleague who offered a word of encouragement, or a friend who simply listened. That single act might not have solved your problems, but it made the burden a little lighter. It reminded you that you were not invisible. Someone cared enough to see you. That is the quiet strength of kindness. What makes these small gestures powerful is not their size, but the intention behind them. When kindness is genuine, it speaks directly to the heart. A smile given freely can spread warmth that travels further than we expect. A word spoken with sincerity can echo in someone's mind for days, providing comfort when they need it most. Even acts that take only seconds of our time can create ripples of hope and encouragement that last far longer. We often underestimate the influence we have on others. Life is not made meaningful only by great accomplishments or big achievements. It is built moment by moment in the way we treat those around us, offering patience instead of irritation, extending understanding instead of indifference, showing generosity when it is least expected. These are the ways in which we make the world softer and kinder. The truth is, kindness costs nothing, yet its value is beyond measure. What may feel small to us might be the very thing that gives another person strength to carry on. It could restore their faith in humanity, simply remind them that goodness still exists. Small acts of kindness may seem ordinary, but in the lives of those who receive them, they can become extraordinary moments that are never forgotten. No matter where we come from, what language we speak, or what beliefs we hold, there is something within us that connects us all, the essence of being human. We all know what it feels like to hope for a better tomorrow, to experience pain and disappointment, and to long for acceptance and love. These shared experiences remind us that beneath the surface, we are far more alike than we are different. When we embrace this truth, kindness becomes the bridge that unites us across every divide. It is easy to focus on the differences that separate people, race, religion, culture, wealth, or social standing. Yet when we look deeper, we find the same emotions beating within every heart. A mother's love for her child feels the same in any corner of the world. Fear of losing someone we love is universal. The joy of laughter and the comfort of kindness do not belong to one nation, but to all humanity. This common ground is where compassion begins, and it is here that kindness becomes a language understood by everyone. regardless of background. When someone extends kindness, there are no barriers. A smile requires no translation. A helping hand needs no explanation. A gentle tone or an act of patience is recognized instantly for what it is, a sign of humanity. That is why kindness carries such extraordinary strength. It does not rely on status, wealth, or power. Instead, it speaks directly to the soul, and the soul understands. In moments of struggle or division, kindness has the power to remind us of our shared humanity. When people feel unseen or separated, even the smallest act of compassion can make them feel connected again. It tells them, you are not alone, you matter. This sense of belonging is vital because it fosters peace, understanding, and cooperation in a world that can often feel divided. When we practice kindness toward others, we are not only helping them, but we are also reinforcing the bonds that tie us all together. We are acknowledging that every person has value and deserves respect. Humanity flourishes when kindness becomes the foundation of our interactions. It is not about erasing our differences, but about celebrating them while recognizing the common humanity that exists within us all. Through this, we discover that kindness is not just an act. It is the thread that weaves us into one human family. So often in life, it feels easier to judge than to understand. When someone makes a mistake, our first instinct may be to criticize, to point out their flaws, or to measure against our own standards. But judgment rarely heals. It creates distance, it builds walls, and it leaves the person on the receiving end feeling diminished and alone. Mercy, however, has the power to do the opposite. It opens the door to forgiveness, understanding, and growth. Choosing mercy over judgment is not about excusing wrongdoing, about recognizing that every human being is imperfect and deserving of compassion. Each of us has stumbled, made poor choices, or faced moments where we wished others would show patience instead of condemnation. When mercy is extended, it provides the chance for redemption. It says, I see your mistake, but I also see your humanity. That kind of response can inspire someone to change far more than harsh criticism ever could. Mercy is not weakness, it is strength, because it requires empathy, humility, and the courage to look beyond a person's faults to see their potential. The world is already full of judgment. People are quick to point fingers, to condemn, to dismiss others for their shortcomings. What it truly needs is more compassion, more people willing to pause and ask, what might this person be going through? What pain or struggle might have led them here? That shift in perspective transforms how we see others. Instead of labeling someone by their mistakes, we begin to view them as whole human beings, capable of growth and deserving of kindness. Mercy also creates ripples that extend far beyond the moment itself. When someone is shown understanding instead of criticism, they often carry that same kindness forward. They become more likely to treat others with patience and compassion because they know what it feels like to be lifted rather than torn down. In this way, a single act of mercy can influence countless lives, spreading empathy in ways we cannot always measure. To choose mercy over judgment is to choose humanity. It is to acknowledge that we are all flawed, yet all worthy of love and respect. By offering compassion instead of condemnation, we do more than ease someone else's burden. We help build a world where kindness becomes stronger than cruelty, and where hearts are healed instead of hardened. True greatness is often misunderstood in today's world. Many believe it lies in titles, achievements, or the size of one's wealth and influence. Society often praises those who rise to the top, those who hold power, or those whose names are celebrated in headlines. Yet, when we pause and look closely at the people who have truly left a lasting mark on our hearts, we see something very different. Greatness is not found in how high someone stands, but in how deeply they touch the lives of others. It is easy to accumulate material success, but it is far harder to be remembered for kindness, compassion, and generosity of spirit. People rarely recall the awards or the possessions someone had, but they never forget the way they were treated. A kind gesture during a moment of despair, a listening ear when silence felt unbearable, or a helping hand when the path seemed impossible. These are the moments that define true greatness. They are quiet acts, often unnoticed by the world, but they live on in the hearts of those who experience them. What makes greatness meaningful is that it is accessible to everyone. It does not require wealth, status, or fame. Every individual has the capacity to leave a positive impact through the choices they make each day. Offering patience to someone who is struggling, showing respect even when it is difficult, or standing up for kindness in a harsh world. These are the ways ordinary people achieve extraordinary influence. The measure of a life well lived is not how much we gather for ourselves, but how much of ourselves we give to others. The beauty of this truth is that greatness multiplies. When we inspire others through our actions, they in turn are moved to act with kindness themselves. The ripple spreads, touching lives we may never see, yet carrying forward the spirit of humanity we leave behind. In this way, greatness is not about recognition, about legacy, the invisible thread of compassion we weave into the lives of others. In the end, what makes someone truly great is not their ability to be remembered for their power, but for their heart. It is in the quiet ways they lifted others, the comfort they provided, and the kindness they shared that their greatness shines brightest, echoing long after they are gone. Words can be powerful, but they often fade with time. People may not always remember what was said in a moment of conversation, but they rarely forget how they felt in that moment. This is the essence of kindness. It leaves an imprint on the heart that outlasts everything else. Long after the details of an exchange are forgotten, the warmth, compassion, and humanity behind an action remain alive in memory. It is this emotional imprint that becomes part of someone's story, shaping how they see the world and how they choose to treat others. When we show kindness, we are not just offering a temporary gesture, we are planting something much deeper. Imagine a person struggling through a difficult season in life, feeling unseen or unworthy. A single moment of compassion, a gentle smile, a forgiving response, or a hand of support can become the memory they return to when they need strength. Memory whispers, "Someone cared. Someone believed I was worth kindness." It becomes a source of hope, even in future hardships. This is why the legacy of kindness is so enduring. Unlike possessions or achievements which may be lost or forgotten, the way we made someone feel lives on. A word of encouragement can echo for years, inspiring a person to keep moving forward. A simple act of patience or mercy can influence how someone chooses to treat others, creating a chain of compassion that continues long after the original moment has passed. What feels small in the present can ripple outward endlessly, touching lives we may never see. It is also true that unkindness leaves its mark. People remember the times they were dismissed, judged, or treated harshly. But the beauty of kindness is that it has the power to heal even those wounds. When someone encounters genuine compassion after experiencing cruelty, it restores a sense of faith in humanity. It reminds them that goodness is real, and that not all hearts are hardened. In this way, kindness does more than make a moment better. It can redefine how someone sees the world. At the end of our lives, it will not be our titles or possessions that others recall most vividly. It will be the moments when we touched their hearts, the times we offered understanding, and the ways we made them feel valued. That is, the lasting legacy of kindness, a memory that never fades, a light that continues to shine long after words are forgotten. Carry kindness in our hearts, and let it guide our actions every day, for it is through humanity and compassion that we truly touch lives. Thank you for listening, and may we all choose to be the reason someone believes in goodness again. How we made them feel.